Good day, everyone. MeteoMark here with MeteoMark's Weather. Glad to have you here with me for this edition. We have a strange week developing here. We're going to have major flooding across parts of the South, transitioning towards a severe weather event. This is starting in Texas early week and transitioning eastward here. Could we actually see ice storm conditions initially on the northern side of the system as well? It's looking really messy up here across parts of the upper Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley, and eventually into the Great Lakes as we head through the early part of the week here before transitioning to rainfall. And just how long will this new weather pattern last? It seems like this is a massive thaw going on this week as we push that snow and ice well up into northern Canada. We'll explore and see how long we could be looking at this if we're going to flip back to cold. And I do want to let you know that before we continue, I just want to let you know many of you have requested a February 2024 into early March outlook for the rest of winter to see if we're going to return to winter or if this springtime thaw is going to continue. Watch out for that video in the next week as I'm continuing to work on it here. Let's get into it. So before we dive into the model data here, let's take a look at a component of this system that's a little bit troubling. This is ice accumulation Monday and Tuesday here. Look at this. Anywhere in the lighter blue, you're seeing about 1/10 of an inch, and these darker blues, upwards of 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch. But look at right around the St. Louis Springfield area. That's a bit concerning. That's upwards of about 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch. Now, of course, the mesoscale models tend to overdo the ice, especially in some of these heavier ice situations here, where you see about 1/2 to 2/3 of an inch, but still looking at 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch here. And quickly looking at snowfall totals here on the front side of this system here. Yeah, it's not going to be blockbuster, but, later Monday night to Tuesday, we could see a shot of 2 to 4 inches here, maybe locally higher in some of these higher elevations. And as we take a look, a liquid equivalent precipitation here across parts of the South could be exceeding 4 to 8 inches in some areas. We're going to take a look at this in very close detail as this is very concerning. All right, so we're going to take a look at precipitation here on the northern side, the wintry side. So what's going on up here? Yeah, a lot of this will be falling as rain up here into parts of the upper Mississippi River Valley, heading towards the Ohio River Valley, parts of the southern plains. But the big concern is ice. That warm air is going to be overriding that colder air, that shallow cold air at the surface as we get into 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning, or actually this is Monday morning, 10 a.m. Monday morning. Look at this. We could be seeing some ice storm conditions here across parts of Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, and that's going to continue northward here as that moisture overrides that colder air. That is a big concern, even into northern Ohio at the onset, and eventually western New York, northwestern Pennsylvania. Most of that will be, snow here. As we head towards 4 a.m. on Tuesday morning, snow breaking out, but we could be snow and ice here across parts of Cleveland, initial shot of an inch or less of, snow, sleet, and freezing rain here. But look at that. The freezing rain is going to be the big headache here as we head towards 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So watch out for this. This is kind of looking ugly here at the onset of this big precipitation shield. All right, so I wanted to show you how this heavy rain is going to begin to blossom here across parts of eastern Texas, southern plains. You can get into 10 p.m. on Sunday evening here, and look at this, a big explosion of showers and thunderstorms. Most of this is going to be below severe levels, although some of these could be some isolated severe, but the big story is going to be the very heavy rain. There's going to be a lot of tropical moisture coming out of the western Gulf here. And look at this. This just consolidates across Texas. We get through noon on Monday here. Look at this. Just a lot of heavy rain, just east of San Antonio, maybe still clipping parts of San Antonio. And look at this. This just continues into a solid line around Houston. We could see some flooding problems, more stratiform rain as we get up the Mississippi River Valley here in parts of the southern and central plains. But look at that. Yeah, that lifts eastward towards Louisiana as we get towards 1 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and then towards the southeast here. And look at, we see a big area of low pressure really starting to take form here, and that's going to continue pushing a lot of this moisture here towards the Gulf Coast area. So very concerning as we get towards the middle part of the week. And then look at this, towards 7 a.m. on the 23rd, Tuesday morning. a big area of showers and thunderstorms does begin to develop, and it is in conjunction with this big area of energy. Watch this Sunday into Monday, crashing into parts of California, and then eventually the Four Corners, and then that heads out into Texas. So we're going to see lots of energy here from the west. All right, so let's take a look at the GFS here. You can see that big moisture plume across eastern Texas. Look at all this energy out west. That's going to continue to funnel into our Gulf Coast issue here, and tapping into all that Gulf moisture. But look at this as we head towards, this is 10 p.m. on Monday evening. So let's just back this up just a little bit. You can see where the ice storm is going to be setting up here. GFS is a little further north, a little warmer than our mesoscale model. But what's going on here is you can see a lot of icing developing quickly across northern Ohio. That is Tuesday morning, but look at this. It quickly changes over to rain. We'll probably have some frozen precipitation initially here in northern Pennsylvania, upstate New York, parts of New England, staying snow up here into parts of southern Wisconsin and Michigan. But look at that. That lifts to the northeast, and we see a change over to rain across much of the mid-Atlantic, northeast, interior northeast, and then all of the Ohio Valley. This big squall line and heavy rain moves to the east as we get towards, this is the 24th. So as we're getting into Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m., only see a little bit of a wraparound snow, but this tropical moisture plume is going to continue to make it all the way up into the Ohio Valley, into parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Appalachians. Very concerned here across parts of the Southeast for very, very heavy rain. Look at, there's another piece of energy coming out of the Four Corners. As we get towards the 25th at 7 p.m., we're getting into Thursday time frame here. Look at this. Just continuing with the heavy rain, and by this point, some severe weather will likely be breaking out here across parts of the Gulf Coast and maybe as far north as the Carolinas. We get into Friday at 7 p.m. Look at what's going on here. Another area of low pressure just behind it. We're just going to fire one low pressure after another. This one taking a more southerly route towards the weekend into the 27th. You can see what's going on here. But nevertheless, we might see some wet snowflakes here into parts of eastern West Virginia. But this is not going to be anything majorly wintry as it moves off the coast really quickly. Now, we do get some snow showers behind us, with trough kind of kicks in here across parts of the Northeast. And then we set up a little bit of an unsettled pattern, maybe a little bit colder next week as we head towards the end of the month, 30th into, let's just continue here into the 31st. You can see another shot, a kind of a clipper system towards the 31st here into parts of the Northeast. That kind of zooms off, and then we resume our Gulf Coast Plain States low pressure systems here as we head towards February 2nd, 3rd, and into the 4th here. Look at this, dragging rain all the way up into southeast Canada. So that's going to be the precursor here heading on into parts of the beginning of February. All right, so confirming the last couple models here with our European model. Always great to take a look at this. That high pressure, look at this big high. It's a 1036 millibar high showing up very prominently here on the European model. You can see there's our big slug of moisture, 7 p.m. on Monday here across the Gulf Coast areas, eastern Texas. That pushes northward here, where we're going to be seeing initially that almost ice storm-like conditions here across much of this area here, the Ohio Valley and northern Mississippi River Valley. Thankfully, it will be short-lived. It will move on pretty quickly, but there's that big slug of moisture moving towards Florida here. It's showing up very well on the European models. We head towards the 23rd, Tuesday, the evening, and then look at that, another surgent of moisture here across much of eastern Texas. So we're just going to continue to pile rainfall on top of rainfall, and this moisture is going to continue north into the Ohio Valley, so we're going to see a rainy time of it later Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday across the Northeast as these high-pressure systems retreat to the Northeast. Now, as we continue in time, look what's going on here. You can see the convective elements here. Things become a little more scattered. That means we could start to see more in the way of severe weather and flooding as this moisture continues to stream out of the Gulf of Mexico. This is the 25th, so we're getting on towards Thursday here. And look at that, rainfall all the way up into the Ohio Valley, into the Northeast. We're changing everything over to rainfall as we get into, there we go, later Thursday night into Friday. Most of the East Coast, for that matter, getting showers and thunderstorms. That moving to the east, there's 7 p.m., TGIF. We're slowly clearing it out, and things are staying well above average as far as temperatures. Look at that. We get another surgence of moisture here with that big development next weekend's low pressure system coming right out of the Western Gulf here. That could mean more insult to injury here with the rainfall rates as this low pressure takes a track across eastern Tennessee and parts of the Carolinas. You can see there it is, exiting off the coast. It doesn't look like any of this is going to be anything major as far as snowfall. So we're heading into a period of much warmer temperatures. It feels a little bit more like a prolonged spring thaw. There's a clipper type system for the 30th that was also showing up on the GFS. So total liquid equivalent precipitation here on our European model, you can see it is eastern Texas all the way up through the Mississippi and Ohio River Valley. Look at, and then Panhandle, Florida as well, Georgia and the Carolinas. So let's just take through, here's Tuesday, and then there's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You can see where in the Ohio Valley and Northeast, it's starting Tuesday, maybe frozen precipitation on the onset, but look how it quickly changes to heavy rain. Yeah, we're going to be looking at some major flooding problems here across parts of the southeast, where you could see upwards of 3.5 to as much as 8 inches of rain. So as we head to the northeast here, there is liquid equivalent precipitation. Tuesday into Wednesday, we see 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch on average across Ohio, New York, and Pennsylvania. That transitions to more heavier rain on Thursday. Look at that, about over most areas averaging an inch here into the purple zones. And into Friday, we dry out for the weekend as well. And then we get another surge of moisture into the following Monday. And liquid equivalent precipitation here on our GFS. Yeah, this is really concerning, as well as it was on the European model. As we head throughout the entire week, you can see where the heaviest rain is falling. It is basically in a band here across eastern Texas, all the way through the Carolinas here, Tennessee. Really concerned here, because these yellow areas, this is getting into the 4, and then these darker orange areas, 8, 9, 10 inches. Very, very concerning. So snowfall amounts here. We will see some, snow down southeast of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, the Great Lakes. There's that initial shot of snow. We're looking at anywhere from 2 to 5 inches up here from parts of eastern Iowa all the way through Michigan, southern Wisconsin, and over to upstate New York as well. Southern Ontario. Look at that. So through the rest of the week, we're not seeing too much. Maybe parts of, Quebec here, northern Maine, northern New Brunswick. But for the most part, you got to wait till like late in the weekend, early next week to get another little shot of some snowfall here. As we get into the northeast here, look at, there's your snowfall amounts. Mostly around Erie, Pennsylvania through the next 24 hours through early Monday. But look at this. Yeah, this is going to be a little shot of snowfall here as we head on into later Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday. You can see averaging about 2 to 3 inches here, mainly north of Ohio here. So northern Pennsylvania up to upstate New York, parts of Michigan here. That's where the heaviest snow will be. Adirondacks could see upwards of 5 or 6 inches of snow. Then we get another system that pushes in from the south on Monday here, next Monday, 29th. So you can see it adds a couple inches on top here, but no major large-scale snowstorms expected. And snowfall here on the GFS, pretty much agreeing with the European model. You can see on Tuesday, late Monday night, Tuesday there across parts of the lakes, a little bit higher here showing up across parts of Michigan. Maybe some areas getting upwards of 6 inches. Northern New York and northern New England as well, a quick shot. And northern Maine there as well. So pretty much a carbon copy as we're going forward here on the GFS. Now, severe weather is going to slowly become a thing this week. You can see Monday, we still have just a generalized, just below marginal levels here across Texas and Louisiana. But as we get into the Tuesday night time frame, we start to see a pickup in severe weather towards the marginal category. And as we get towards Wednesday, we don't quite have it on here. Let's see if it's showing. Not quite yet, but we're starting to see, a major increase here across parts of the southeast and eastern Texas region. All right, so our upper air pattern here, our polar vortex watch is basically on hold at the moment. Look at this firecracker ridge building in for our new week here. That just gets, we're not seeing any major large-scale snowstorms anytime soon. And look at most of North America gets in on the act. Yeah, we get a little trough here towards the end of the month, the 31st, but really, this is not much to write home about. And look at this massive ridge. This is going to send all these systems way up here into central Canada. And I will be putting out my February, early March outlook as well. I'm working on a video so that we can take a look and see what I think may be actually happening, whether we're going to see a return to cold or if we're going to see springtime early. So checking the Canadian winter storm outlook here, let's take a look. We got some snow here across Ontario and Quebec as we head with our southern system here into the United States. Another big plume of moisture out here in western Canada, as well as the Pacific systems continue to pummel in. We do have, as we head towards Thursday into Friday, another system spreading some light snow and some light freezing rain here across southern Ontario provinces over to New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. But those will be quick-moving storms. We do have another clipper moving here across parts of Ontario and eventually Quebec as we head towards next weekend. But as we continue to head in time, the area that sees the most storminess is definitely going to be the west coast here of Canada. You see, it looks really clear and cold across much of central Canada until we get towards the first week of February. Look we have rain all the way up into parts of Ontario and Quebec here. Look how far north that 32-degree line is pushing. So yeah, even a thaw here, especially for much of eastern Canada as we head through the first part of February. All right, so let's take a look at your tropics. I do not want to leave you out here across much of the Caribbean. From Mexico, Central America, all the Caribbean islands here, Bahamas. Let's take a look. Yeah, there's going to be some inclement weather here across Central America. You can see a lot of showers and thunderstorms across this region from Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula. If you're vacationing here, it's not looking the best. I mean, it's not going to be all day of rain events, but you get the idea. There's a lot of moisture in the areas. We head through the 23rd into the 24th. You can see a drying trend here across the Caribbean. And look at that. Yeah, we get a few showers towards Jamaica as we get towards later Wednesday and Thursday towards the Cayman Islands. Things dry out here across much of Central America. That's some good news for you, getting some good weather until about this big old frontal boundary towards the 28th. So as we get towards later next weekend, we're going to start to see a surgence again of shower and thunderstorm activity here. And that moves through the Bahamas as we head through the 29th into the 30th. So we get towards the end of the month. And then we see a surgence of tropical moisture with this frontal boundary here. That could surge northward towards Jamaica and the Cayman Islands and parts of Haiti and the Dominican Republic as well. So watch out. You might be clipped some of these showers, even towards the Turks and Caicos here in the southeastern Bahamas. And rainfall amounts here across the Caribbean. It's mainly in the eastern part of the Yucatan Peninsula down to Belize here. This is where we'll see anywhere from 60 to 100 millimeters, anywhere from about 2.5 to 3.5 inches of rainfall. Jamaica, the eastern coastline here, looks like you could get upwards of 40 to 60 millimeters, about 1.5 to 2 inches expected. For the most part, the Bahamas look mostly dry. And as we get into the eastern Caribbean, there's not a whole lot to talk about. There will be a little wave that moves through the southern Lesser Antilles, Trinidad and Tobago, Tuesday night into Wednesday, maybe upwards of 13 to 26 millimeters, but nothing more than 3/4 of an inch here. It's the northern coastline of the Dominican Republic here that you could see upwards of 60, 70, maybe 80 millimeters here. That's getting upwards towards 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. Even parts of the southeastern Bahamas as we get towards the end of the month here, we could be averaging up to 25 to 40 millimeters of rainfall. As we get into the western Pacific, I know I've been leaving you out here. Look at this. We actually have, what is this out here? Tropical cyclone Agrek here. Yeah, so this is just going to be much of a problem, mainly to shipping lanes. Thankfully, it doesn't look like it's going to affect any land at the moment. That's great news. But let's continue to go in time here. How's the Philippines looking? Yeah, it's not really a big typhoon season this time of year. And as you can see, it just, until we get to about the 28th, look what starts to happen here. The southern Philippines, southeastward here, we could be looking at a big area of disturbed weather here, but it kind of fizzles out pretty quickly here. It's way past your typhoon season up here into parts of Japan, where it looks like towards the end of the month, big area of high pressure building in. And don't go anywhere. I just have more weather here in just a moment. Check out my affiliate here, these awesome maps. Have a look at this.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so as we take a look at temperatures here, this is going to be a much warmer week. You can see cold air up here into parts of the lakes, northern plains, but watch how this warm air expands into Tuesday. You can see we're pushing the 40s here into parts of the Mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley. The Gulf Coast is looking into the 70s. As we get throughout Wednesday, look what happens all the way up towards the upper 40s, the Ohio Valley, parts of the Mid-Atlantic. Look at this expanse of 60s and 70s here across the Southeast. As we get into Thursday, look at this. Yeah, we're well into the 50s. All of Ohio, western Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, south of the Mason-Dixon line, we're in the 60s. So this is looking like very warm, low to mid 70s here across mid and southern Texas here. This is really crazy. Into Friday, look at this, January 26 here. It is looking warm across the Northeast. You know there's going to be a lot of rain with this as well. A lot of melting snow. And look at this, even into next Saturday, the only cold air we're seeing is here in the northern plains and parts of the Rocky Mountains. Extended outlook from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. Take a look at this, increasing clouds Monday. It will be a cold start, but we're warming into the 30s and eventually the 40s by mid to late week. Look at that, 50s by Thursday and Friday. The big story is going to be there will be some snow at the onset Tuesday, but that will quickly change to rain. Probably looking at upwards of 1 inch to 1.5 inches through the end of the week. You can see Thursday's probably the rainiest day, up to 3/4 of an inch. Pretty much no major snowstorms this week. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also at Weather Northeastern, also at Hurricane Northeastern, and also at Susquehanna Weather. Also Twitter at Weather Eastern, and you can visit me at MeteoMark.com. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out my winter weather outlook for 2023-24, and link in the description down below, as well as my affiliate, Trilogy Maps.